Ambazonia, land of freedom. You shall live in plenty, meet in our need. And your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation.
Am I on? 21 minutes late. Okay. Okay, yes. I see now that I'm live. Oh man, it plays day. Oh man, it plays day. My apologies. I was in a meeting and I'm trying to look for the link to share out to. I don't know if my chief of staff is watching. PR, if you are watching, please share the link. What is the place for? Do you people hear me? What's going on? I know technology will kill me. Yeah, they said I should reduce space between my head and okay, you know the head is so big, so PR, is he okay? Yes, thank you. Yes. The PR says okay. All right, the PR has shared the link. Oh, Lord have mercy. All right, let's talk. Yes, let's talk. I send greetings to our people, the proud people of Lebialem. I know my chief of staff is on. The vice president, I've left him in a meeting. We've been in a meeting for an hour. He is still in the meeting, so I don't think he's watching. I thank you all. I send greetings to our forces. They are battling the enemy in some areas. I congratulate our forces in Boyo. Boyo is expecting its liberation tax receipt. We have placed an order for it to be printed and sent to them. The one for Bui that was adapted will be getting, I think it's already there. So things are moving well with the tax. I thank all of you who have paid your tax. I was so happy the other day when I followed the video of a comrade talked about. He was so happy about the receipt, and he said he's gonna frame it as a badge of honor. Yes. Today we are talking about Lebialem. Lebialem, the chief of staff. 22 years ago, 22 years ago, I was in Frankfurt, and I was with von Gorgi Dinka. We were sitting on the podium in a conference that was organized by the SCNC, I think by the SCNC and the SCYL. And there was a gentleman who was filming the event, especially when I started talking. Then I was bigger than I look now, before this stage of the struggle. So this gentleman was filming. I didn't quite know the person. So afterward I left, I boarded the train, and I was heading back to my hideout. And somebody walked up to me and greeted me and said he was at the conference, that he was the gentleman doing the filming. And I said, wow, take a seat. And we sat all through, and he was living, I think, in Mülheim or Duisburg, and I was living in Bochum. So there began a great friendship and brotherhood between myself and my now chief of staff, Nkem Jinkeng. And I can attest the relationship I have had with him has emboldened me, has nourished me, and has made me a better fighter. 1 year after we met, I conceived an idea you could only watch it in Bollywood or in Nollywood. I said to the chief of staff and others that we should seize the Cameroon embassy in Bonn. Then the capital of Germany was Bonn. At first everybody was like, really? So I said, yes. I said, you know, we voted to establish a federal union. And in that situation, all properties of the federation are jointly owned between Ambazonia and Cameroon. And so Cameroon has been holding... Oh, one moment. My battery is running out. Just a moment, please. Be patient. All right. I think we are good. Yes, we are good now. All right. I said to you people, these sessions will be interactive. If you have questions, Ambazonia loves Biafra back. 70 million Biafrans, 8 million Ambazonians will form the strongest, richest economic bloc in West Africa. And we aren't smiling. We aren't smiling. So I send my best wishes to my friend Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He should know that we will never sleep until we get him home, like any other prisoner within Ambazonia and in Biafra, held by both the zoo and the butchers of Yaoundé. So as I was saying, I brought up the idea that we should seize that embassy. And we started planning. The chief of staff, when I asked who is going to change the flag, because we had to bring down La Republique's flag and then raise the amber flag. I asked who is ready to change the flag. Chief of staff said, I'll do it. Jesus. So I was going for the military attaché. Chief of staff was going for the flag. You see the great combination of warriors. We planned for about a month. Chief of staff, if I'm wrong, correct me in the comment section. And so on the morning of 1st of October 2002, I think we're 26 or 30 of us, or 22 to 26. We had our stickers of Ambazonian stickers that you could just peel and stick on the embassy walls. We stormed the embassy. As I was going in, I saw him moving to the pole of the flag. I wasn't looking back. I was going straight for the military attaché to rain him down so that we can take over the embassy. And people, we did. We did. We took over the embassy. We wanted to hold it for 41 minutes, which was the 41 years of occupation of our land. We did. And the enemy surrounded the embassy within 30 minutes. German military surrounded the embassy. La Republique staff inside the embassy were crying. You are in one room, you are only hearing slap in another room. And Amber has left a scar on the bald head of a La Republique embassy official. It was beautiful to occupy that embassy and take it over from the hands of the butchers for a while. We felt powerful, we felt emboldened, we felt free. I think it was just preparation for what began 7 years ago. So my people, it's been a long journey with my chief of staff from Lebialem. I've come to learn the Lebialem culture, to know them better, strong men, powerful men, and I'm really proud to have him as the chief of staff, to have him as a brother, as a friend, and I'm so glad that a son of Lebialem is the vice president of the Ambazonian Governing Council. We are blessed, and we are grateful, and we thank the people of Lebialem for their sacrifices, for the fight that they have had against the enemy. That has left nothing in that place. As I was coming in, the chief of staff was telling me that Lebialem is a barren land. That's why, you know, they have literally taken over Moyoka. And he said, apart from people from Lebialem, you have people from Momo. They are the second highest immigrants from within. So I asked him, why is Lebialem barren? He said the land is not fertile and there's too many hills. Sure, staff, let me give you some statistics. I did some research. And Ambazonia is going to turn Lebialem into the Ambazonia Alps. You heard of the French Alps? You've heard of what is being done in the highlands of Switzerland and in France. Every year, 60 to 80 million people visit the French Alps. 60 to 80 million people visit the French Alps. The beauty about sometimes living out here is being exposed to certain things that we thought in the past were liabilities, but really they were an asset. They say Lebialem, they are just hills, and so it's not useful. There are close to 600 ski resorts in the French Alps. 600. And so you can glide from one hill to the next. That's how we would transform Lebialem. And I was baffled when the chief of staff was talking to me that people leave Lebialem to go down to Fako because Lebialem is barren. And I said, no, that's not true. That's not true. Lebialem is going to be transformed into a touristic site, and I've got good news. I have good news for Lebialem and to other places. More than 60 years ago, or even close to 100 years ago, Europeans were importing palm oil from West Africa. The British, you know, when they had kidnapped Africans and taken them over, they started seeing the usefulness of palm. Singapore alone, this is excellent. This is excellent. Let me just give you some very good statistics. Lebialem produces palm oil. But you know, palm oil is associated with poverty. Palm oil is like crude oil. That's how useful palm oil is. It's like crude oil. The candles that you have at your home, some are from the derivatives of palm oil. And they are beautiful because they don't have any kind of odor when they are burnt. That's why it's preferable to use the derivatives from palm oil to produce candles than from other materials, because it takes away the odor. Lebialem, before entering into the cocoa production, does mass production of palm oil. Listen to this carefully. I always like when we're having this conversation, you take a pen. Singapore in 2022 earned a whopping 11.5 billion US dollars. That's a country that just got palm oil, or production of palm oil, as a kind of a secondary resource. It was buying it from West Africa, and then it decided it was going to create this plantation because of the lucrative nature of palm oil. So anyone who thinks Lebialem is barren, Lebialem is hilly, I have just told you that 60 to 80 million people visit the French Alps. The engineers who produce from Boya will be able to transform those highlands, those hills that you think that to scale them is difficult, into one of the most visited touristic sites. I have not even gotten into the mineral reserves that can be found in Lebialem. But if Lebialem decides that we are not simply going to touch our minerals and we want to focus on palm oil, Lebialem will be making enough money to look after Lebialem and look after Momo and even look after Manu. Listen, La République's budget of 2022, those people want to reconstruct Ambazonia. To reconstruct, it means you constructed before, right? Ambazonia has suffered. Suffered. La République wants to reconstruct. You did not construct, but you want to reconstruct, right? Their budget 2022 was 6 billion. With a population of 20 million. Listen, La République has a population of 20 million. The amount of money that Singapore made from palm oil was $11.5 billion. Singapore has a population, I think, 5 million. How many million I get? About that. Only from palm oil, it made $11.5 billion. La République's budget for 20 million people. 6 billion La République, what do they call that currency? What does he want to use to reconstruct Ambazonia? See, let me tell you people something. When you people see me smiling every time about this struggle, it's not because we have 2,000 rifles. I am looking at the enemy. I am looking at the... See, even if we decide today that we were just going to rest for 2 weeks, this enemy cannot defeat us. They lack the cause. They lack the money. I was talking to an Ambazonian soldier, a B. He's in location XX. He had left the shithole country. He spoke words of wisdom into my head. He spoke from an intellectual mindset, and I was asking myself, how the hell did you find yourself amongst these rascals? Basin of water has failed to dissolve the 2 cubes of sugar. Rifles that they said they were going to destroy us in a few weeks has failed to do it. Now they are doing propaganda. Return to normalcy. Had they even accepted that there was no normalcy? Did they even accept that there was a war? Amba, sometimes when you are walking on the road, be laughing alone. And somebody asks you why you are laughing, so you just heard good news from Dr. Cho Ayaba'S. Yeah. So, if Singapore, that is not a primary base, Singapore is not an indigenous land for the production of palm oil. It can make $11.5 billion, while La République's budget. And Singapore has not even ended there. It is using the derivatives to make margarine. So each time you are swiping margarine on your bread, it is what you call mbanga. That the chief of staff told me that Lebialem was barren. Lebialem, alele, we will turn it into an oasis. Since you people have moved to Fako, you will not only move back, you will move back with the people of Fako. Because there will be enough. We will dignify mass production of our resources. We will not live in a society where farmers are treated with disdain and scorn, as though they have nothing to offer. The people who feed the world. A colonial curriculum of education that has made our own effort worthless. You ask yourself, what has La République given the people of Lebialem? One of the first places we freed was Bechati. That is the village of Dr. Akwanga. That was one of the first places General Ivo freed. We dealt a big blow to the enemy there. And we still control that axis. So, I want to assure the people of Lebialem, your future in dignity, in wealth, in opportunities is in Ambazonia. If you see the structures that the Germans left, they look so beautiful, like the Fons Palace. Who has destroyed it? The enemy has transformed it into his barracks. One of the most prominent schools in Lebialem, was it built by La Republique? What has La Republique offered the people of Lebialem? It has instead forced you people to abandon your own land. A land that was protected with the blood of your forebears. A place where your own chief was taken into exile into Garawa. He did not decide to stay there. He came back. Ambazonia is our blessing. The more we know about it, the more we learn about our country, the more we concretize the idea of a freed homeland. The more we learn about the opportunities that abound. And the more we talk about these opportunities, which years before, even now, we are ashamed to talk about it. Do you really want to come on television and you are talking about palm oil? Because you've been made to understand only gold, diamond, and crude oil matter. Now you can hear that Singapore, that was far behind Ambazonia in terms of development, and now is a destination that any Tom, Dick, or Harry wants to make. Made 11.5 billion US dollars. And they've done something very fantastic. Something like the Saudi Arabians and the Norwegians. They have what they call the reserve fund. Norway has a reserve fund. Most of its oil proceeds money go into the so-called reserve fund. You hear of the Saudi reserve fund that is used in all sorts of investment, in luxurious car investment, and some given to, gave Trump's son $2 billion from that investment reserve fund. Singapore has created what you call the Palm Oil Revenue Sharing Fund. Created through a legislation, Article 9 of that law makes it very clear that a portion of that fund will be reserved for the construction and maintenance of road infrastructure. Listen, they do not only make good in terms of farming, something that we in our own land will look at it as though it has no use. They make so much money out of it that they decided to create a revenue sharing fund, and apportion part of that revenue sharing fund to the construction and maintenance of road infrastructure. The other day when I talked about Ndian, and it was so sad to know that sometimes you are sick in a particular village, you prefer to take a flying boat into Biafra land than to use 24 hours. When you leave London to go to Birmingham, which is 113 kilometers, you use 2.5 hours. Mundemba to Kumba, 130, you use 24 hours. And if time is money, you see how much you're losing. So, what I can promise our people as we make this journey, talking about each state, what the Lebialem people have done in Fako is great. Through hard work and investment, they've developed Fako, but not their own place. Because they felt abandoned. The occupier had no interest in Lebialem. We will make Lebialem the Ambazonian Alps, where those highlands, those hills will become touristic sites, and some of which I am definitely very sure have vast mineral resources that will be exploited to make sure that Lebialem becomes an El Dorado and takes its rightful place in the community of states in Ambazonia. We will transform, the system of agriculture into one of mass production of these resources. And it will not benefit the middle people because the primary producers do not even have the capital. They do not have the possibility of moving their produces from places of production to the market. Lebialem has contributed immensely in this struggle. We know of what Field Marshal, despite his limitations and the instrumentalization that he went through, was a force. The people of Lebialem have sacrificed. We all watch how the enemy touched down a palace in broad daylight, anguished by the determination of our forces who have been inflicting heavy damages on them. My fellow Ambazonians, we have come a long way. And this journey has educated us about who we are, has transformed us in a way that we can recognize our true value. It has made us to identify our enemy, and it's designed not only to dispossess us of our land and the resources that are in that land, but to alter our own identity so that we can easily integrate into their own and lose our culture. This past few years has made us to learn more about other villages than we ever learned sitting in the four walls of La Republic Intoxication Centers called schools. And we did not learn the kind of history that said Kwakwa was such a backward place, or Bechati was such a backward place. We did not learn only the stigma associated with the people of Lebialem, that they are 99, or when we talked about people from Pinyin or from the Mogamo, all what we knew was derogatory, how to antagonize, stigmatize, based on the stereotypes that the enemy had constructed and imposed, and it became the conduit through which we came to understand each other. It's like walking from a dark room after living inside for 62 years and realizing that there was really light. We have mingled with each other. The AGOFC, for example, the cabinet has me from Mezam, has the vice president from Lebialem, the chief of staff from Lebialem, the chairman of the council of mission from Momo. You have the PS from Mezam, the dev chair from Mezam. You have the NSA from Kope, the chairman of the national council from Meme. You have the CIO from Fako. You have the SS from Manu, the deputy secretary general of defense from Momo. I can capture this garden. It's a reflection of the beauty of our country. Now, we do not only celebrate our culture in obscurity, and this is interesting, some of us in the past celebrated our culture but refused to acknowledge that we come from the land that had produced that culture. Because we were ashamed. Where do you come from? I come from Boya. Everybody from the northern region comes from Bamenda. Everybody comes from Bamenda. Because they are ashamed to call the name of their village. Because the quality of that village is determined or has been determined by the enemy. The struggle has opened our eyes. The struggle has also shown us, and in this conversation that we are having, that sometimes the people of Lebialem, once the people of Fako, the people from Meme, come to realize the potential of the people of Lebialem, it automatically generates respect, coexistence, cordial relationship. Because sometimes people migrate and they are treated with pity. Their presence is instrumentalized by political zealots and political harlots. They start calling them come no go, to stir up people who don't have jobs, not as a result of those who have come in, but because of the occupation, the dismantling of our infrastructures, of our economic system, access to credit. Blame those who have come in, have taken jobs, are paying their taxes, are creating wealth. Don't blame the occupier that has taken our land and has discriminated against us and has imposed pain as a new normalcy within our society. I can assure the people of Lebialem that your greatness can be gleaned through your rich history. I don't want to spend time this evening talking about the rich history, who you are, where the name Lebialem is coming from, why this place has a particular name. You have a very rich history and a very rich culture. In Hollywood, in Bollywood, in Nollywood, the production of films is a manifestation or is a projection of the way of life of a people. Its food, its language, its attitude in relationship, nurtured or nature. Ambazonians started singing in French to be respected. Now you listen to a particular music in Mancon and you are shocked that it sounds good because you were bombarded, bastardized with Makosa. Even when they sang in is it Bikutsi, you loved it. But when they sing in Lebang language or in So or whatever, you were ashamed. The enemy took away our pride and made us our own enemies. And so they collected from amongst us the sellouts and bestowed to them the title of elites. And they came into our land time and again. And it's to them that we give respect. They snatch our right to think consciously about who we are. Don't you hate it? Knowing it now, that you hated yourself, you were ashamed of your name, you were ashamed of where you come from. Knowing the chief of staff, I have never known somebody so proud of his culture. He speaks his language. He speaks his language with so much pride. He tells stories in his language. And I wish I could just understand some of them. The beauty of Ambazonia is reflected also in those languages. The memories that are captured in the expressions that we make. That is why the Englishman has engaged in language colonization, because they know through their language you understand their culture, you consume their food, you want to speak like them, dress like them, talk like them, act like them, and you are creating wealth and opportunities for them. Now China has been able to strengthen its economy, and you start seeing people wanting to study Mandarin because power invites. Dear Ambazonians, the worst thing to happen or to have happened to us is the cloak under which we have lived, a falsehood, a lie about our own identity, who we are as individuals and as a collective. where we come from. I was in a meeting once, and I will come when I come to Menchum. I was in a meeting once in Berlin. And my good old friend, we call ourselves Oh Boy, we sat in that meeting, and it was time for introduction. And somebody would say, I come from Dortmund. Give their name, I'm from Berlin. The other one said his name. He said, I come from Frankfurt. When it came to Gaston, I was baffled. He said he comes from Arab. Everybody was like, they've never heard. He said he's from Arab. The Germans were confused. Where is Arab? I was so proud. In less than 1 second, he took Arab from a local space in Ambazonia and internationalized it through a speech act. In 1 second, it became tattooed in the brains of everyone that was sitting in that space. And it changed me. The white people take pride of theirs. If you tell somebody in the United States that you have never known Tupac, they'll be shocked. But turn and ask that person if he knows Amumba. And try to be shocked why they don't know Amumba. And listen to the defense. We have been taught to learn about others and not ourselves. Because the story of our being and our existence has always been written by our enemies. From these outings, we are rewriting our own story. In this struggle, we are telling our own side of the story. Through our resistance, we are building a history which is based on our own realities. And we are liberating ourselves block by block, state by state, first mentally, then physically. My fellow Ambalanders, I'm grateful to have been born in Amba. Yes. And I think we should take pride in our land. And wherever you are, in which office you sit, wear your amber pin as a badge of honor. And if there is only one thing you will do on earth before your last day, let it be to deliver Amba from the hands of La Republique. For that to happen, I ask of you, each and every one of you, to pay your liberation tax. I promise you, you will see a physical change in broad daylight. In broad daylight. La Republique knows I'm not joking. They know me for the past 33 years, 35 years. They know. My words, my thoughts, my actions. I don't study war acts. I study my opponent. Based on their action, I build a counteraction. All what we have produced and prescribed from the Ambazonian Governing Council is based on a deep understanding the flaws and the strength of our enemy. You empower our people mentally. You make our people to accept their identity. You make our people to believe in their own land. You are 80% free. Once the thief knows that their location is identified, it's just a matter of time. They can use Diongute. The other day I was listening to him. Oh, what a disgrace. What a disgrace. A whole man who calls himself Prime Minister is on video begging the slave to remain a slave in the hands of their abductors and kidnappers. Confused what to say. Whether you should beg by the mama, we should pray to God, pray to Allah, or we should do what? Just for him to be in the good books of a man whom I'm sure is senile enough not to even know who Diongute is. I thought they had won the war. Now we still control the suburbs. Well, thank you all for being part of this interactive conversation. Tomorrow, I would want you to choose the state I address tomorrow. So just write on the comment section which state you want me to address. The PR, the PS, and all those chief of staff, OGC, all those who are following will tally the votes, and we will do preparation against tomorrow. You know, I said I was going to address 13 states. I am also going to address our people in the diaspora, and I'm also going to address our people in jail. But by the beginning of next month, I will find a special day to address the issue of the lockdown, which I have asked the Ambazonian Defense Forces to reinforce. I rarely make those kinds of tough decisions. You should know that the enemy is engaged in a psychological warfare at this stage. It's no longer, you know, you shoot me, I shoot you. No, that is standard practice. They are now engaged in a psychological warfare. And that psychological warfare is a notion of normalcy. They have been able to convince many people to believe that in times of war, there is no normalcy. There's war in Syria, there's war in Iraq, there's war in Afghanistan, there is still normalcy. But they have been able to make everyone to believe that a state of normalcy means that you are losing the war. And so you are jittery all the time. Sometimes when you see some of their PR activities and there is no lockdown, there's no ban, there's no disruption, you have the feeling like we are losing. Yes, we've lost grounds in some areas. But the key strategic components of the resistance are intact. So to undermine their ability to continue to market this illusion of normalcy, I support and approve this lockdown. We want to re-engineer Ambazonians to understand that there is a state of war in Ambazonia, during which time people die, soldiers die, places are being burnt, there is rape, there is destruction going on by the enemy. It is also meant to send a message to all those enabling the activities of the enemy, gradually accepting the enemy, selling them food, playing with them, doing all nonsense with them, to time and again remind them that no, this normalization of relationship with the butchers and rapists of our people is an anomaly to the Ambazonian people. This lockdown is also meant to really protect one of the pillars of our resistance, an indigenous Ambazonian educational system with a curriculum designed to reflect the standard, the opportunities, the weaknesses of our socioeconomic and political landscape. And that any school that continues to enable, to give comfort, to perpetuate an illegal education system, we will dig it from the foundation, right from the foundation, upside down. Don't send your children to any school associated to La Republique. When we say community school, it means it's community based, it's community owned. The shareholders are people from the community. That's what we mean. And that's the system we will design. A shareholder approach to ownership of industries, big, medium, or small. We know we have limitations, but we are creating institutions for learning and to acquire knowledge, not just schools. We are being innovative. We are creating multiple layer opportunities that if you miss a couple of days sitting in a classroom because there was fighting in that neighborhood, you go online, you are going to catch up. We are transforming, we are disrupting what has existed. We are creating a revolutionary system that totally dismantles what was put in place to turn us from being citizens of a country to becoming slaves to another country. This is going to be a meticulous and tedious job. And I appeal to each and every one of you to bear the burden each time it comes to your door. It will be for you, your family, and to the next generation. Don't forget to pay your liberation tax. I send greetings to all the denizens of Lebialem, including my Vice President, the Chief of Staff, and all of our people. Hey, I forgot Iron Lady in them and your husband, and all of you from Lebialem. God bless you all, and good night.
As the liberation tax now involves the diaspora, myself and everyone in my household have paid their liberation tax. Freedom is not in words but action. I am a patriot and law-abiding Ambazonian. I love my country to be free and will travel all miles to make it free. Pay your liberation tax. Go to www.atla.africa. Action speaks louder than words. You can choose to be anonymous.
Good morning, my fellow Ambalanders. Today is the 13th day of July 2023, and you are listening to the voice of your brother Sheikh Kavi Warmelim. You might hear some noise from the background. It is because I am at work, so please permit me. My reflection this morning is about the Amber tax, and I want to say this. In Ambazonia, the purpose of education will not be to pass exams like it is the case in Cameroon. Cameroon is full of theory professors and researchers who've never discovered anything or formulated any theory. Your educational secretary and team have compiled something better for Ambazonian schools. Fight for Ambazonia. Pay your liberation tax with joy. Your liberation tax comes with a victory. Victory comes with a good health system, good education system, good social life, and a lot more. I am not in GZ, but I have decided to pay because tomorrow I want to know what I did for my country. I didn't do it because I have a lot of money. I didn't do it because I wanted to. Because if you wait to have a lot of money, and if you wait until you want to, then it is better as saying that it will be difficult for us to be free. So pay your taxes with love. Pay your taxes with joy, because it enhances tomorrow's success. It is pregnant with the future of kids born and yet to be born. Yes, Sheikh Kavi Warmelim, I approve this and I've paid my tax. What about you? Good day. Good morning, my fellow Ambalanders. This is Sheikh Kavi Warmelim. Today is the 3rd of August 2023. I'm coming to you today with a mixed feeling. I was just listening to the BBC when I heard that the United Kingdom is acknowledging acts of genocide committed against the Yazidi people. Today they are admitting acts of genocide committed against the Yazidi people. And I'm like, are these guys kidding? Are they serious? Have they ever heard of the land called Ambazonia? To suit them well, the British Southern Cameroons. Do they really know what is happening there? A land they mortgaged to France. A land, a people they use as articles of trade between them and France. Today, old men and women, disabled people, young people are being roasted in their houses by the army, by the military of La République du Cameroon under their watch. There is ethnic cleansing going on in Ambazonia, orchestrated by the army of La République du Cameroon under their watch. Houses are being burned, livestock are being roasted, food storage houses or herds are being burnt down to ashes, farms are being burnt, our youth are being killed, people are being gunned down from helicopter gunships, girls are being raped, people are arbitrarily arrested and tortured and take weeks to La République concentration camps and stored there for years without trials. Yet, they are silent. They can only wait until many people are killed, and then years out after, they come acknowledging acts of genocide. What hypocrisy! What a shame. To them, maybe it's many years long gone, but to us, what they told the world after the Rwanda genocide is still as fresh like yesterday. Never again would the world sit down and watch why this happens. Today they are watching why it happens. They came out with something called preventive diplomacy. Fortunately, Ambazonians have learned the hard way that preventive diplomacy ends in the paper on which it was written, and that the United Nations is just a toothless bulldog that only puts its hands in the water when it is already dead cold. When acts of genocide are going on, these so-called economic or what should I call them, the United Nations or the Great Britain or however great they are, they pamper the sitting president of such nations that is orchestrating the acts, or pamper the government in place that is orchestrating the acts. What they can only do is write and forget. And when after many people have been killed, they come with a piece of paper acknowledging acts of genocide. This is pure hypocrisy. This is inhuman. This is insanity.
After 700 meters, leave the freeway.
People of Ambazonia, the only way forward is for us to move forward, because there is no back to go to. There is no back to go to. And how to move forward is for us to engage thoroughly, totally, wholeheartedly, powerfully on the payment of our liberation tax. This liberation tax will go a long way to polish the sticks that your four soldiers are using to defend your land, to reduce this act of genocide that is committed on our people. That is why the Ambazonian Governing Council developed the taxation policy. While we are working on taxation for the diaspora, those in GZ, please keep on paying your taxes and keep on working hard with the ATLA. Keep on working hard with ATLA, the Ambazonian Transitional Liberation Authority in your locality. Because together we shall build something meaningful. Together we shall work hard to see that we shorten the days of La Republic presence in our land. May God bless us all.
Ambazonia, a day of freedom has come for me and for you, for Ambazonia. And we will fight for the right to be free, and we will build our own society, and we will sing, we will sing our own song. When the ancient drum rhythms ring, the voice of a forefathers sing. Ambazonia run, a day of freedom has come for me and for you, for Ambazonia. Yes, we will fight for the right to be free, and we will build our own society, and we will sing, we will sing our own song.
You can see that.
Welcome to ACN.
fellow Ambazonians, all man a place over there. As the governing council informed the Ambazonian people and the international community 2 days ago that the government of Cameroon, through the Norwegians, have called for a negotiated settlement to end the conflict in Ambazonia between the Ambazonia Governing Council and the government of Cameroon. We want to make this clear both to Norway and to Cameroon. 1. Norway, the government of Norway must demonstrate leadership. The government of Norway must demonstrate public leadership. For Cameroon to take Norway serious, and for the Ambazonian people to take Norway serious, the government of Norway must demonstrate public leadership about their role, their intentions, and the commitment of Cameroon. That's 1. Number 2, it's hypocritical for Norway to send a delegation of diplomats to Cameroon, accept any concept of a negotiated settlement about the conflict, while Norway is still detaining the leader of the liberation, Dr. Cho Ayaba'S. It's hypocritical for Norway to have a discussion with Cameroon and table Cameroon's request for a negotiation with the Ambazonian Governing Council, while Norway is keeping Dr. Cho Ayaba'S in detention because of a politically motivated intent to decapitate the leadership. The Ambazonia Governing Council and the Ambazonian people will not accept these double standards. Not this time around. Number 2, Norway should learn from the experiences of the Swiss and the Canadians. The Swiss failed to show public leadership during the Swiss intentions. And what happened to that process? Cameroon rejected the process and said they had nothing to do with the process, and never gave the Swiss any authority to organize or have discussions about a negotiated settlement with those that travel to Switzerland. But it took 2.5 years for continuous manipulation and deception of the Ambazonian people that there was something going on, whereas there was nothing going on, because the Swiss failed to demonstrate public leadership. Cameroon never committed. The Swiss failed to demonstrate public leadership about their own intentions. How many thousands of Ambazonians were killed during that 2.5 years process? How many villages were burnt? How many girls and women were raped? How many communities were destroyed during that 2-year process? How many Ambazonians were disappeared during that 2.5-year process? How many grandmothers were burnt alive during that period? How many Ambazonians were taken hostage and are still under Cameroon captivity during that period? Because of the failure of the Swiss to demonstrate public leadership, they enabled more Ambazonians to be killed, more children to be killed, more women to be raped, more communities to be destroyed. They empowered Mr. Biya to commit more atrocities and more crimes on the Ambazonian people. It's unacceptable. You want to do it or you don't want to do it? You want to play the role of a mediator or you don't want to play the role of a mediator? You can't have it both ways. There must be public leadership. What about the Canadian process? Canada convened the Ambazonian people and the Cameroonian and a delegation of Cameroonese. They had 3 rounds of underground talks. In Montebello, in Mont-Tremblant, and in Toronto. In the month of October, November, and December 2022. Canada failed to demonstrate a public leadership during that process, and Cameroon took advantage of it. The Canadian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Madame Joly, never came out to make any public statement about it. Everything was being done in the dark. The Canadian Prime Minister never came up to demonstrate public leadership about Canada's role to bring peace, to negotiate an end to the conflict. What ended up after the process? Even the simple protocol that was put in place as to how they would roll out the communication strategy, Cameroon didn't respect it. Mr. Biya went out, disgraced Canada, and disgraced the entire process. That's 2 years ago. It's been now 2 years and 3 months. What has happened between that period up until today? The war continues. More children are being killed. More communities are being razed down. More people are being displaced. Refugees are being created. More children are not going to school because Canada failed to provide public leadership. The Canadians failed themselves, and they failed the international community, they failed Cameroon, and they failed the Ambazonian people because of lack of public leadership, because of lack of ownership of the process. had Madame Jolie came out and took ownership of the process, demonstrated Canada's authority and leadership within the international community, that would have validated the process, and Cameroon would not be able to back out. That was missing. Even when the pre-talks agreement was signed, what happened to the press conference? Canada's supposed to call, bring international media, and announce the end of the pre-talks process and the agreement that was signed. That did not happen. Everything was done in the dark. And that's why Cameroon had to turn around, humiliate Mr. Trudeau, humiliate Madame Jolie, and humiliate the entire process with all the resources and the hospitality and the investments. Everything was thrown apart. We've been down this road, Norway. So just because you sent a delegation to Cameroon, they came back with a letter, means nothing to the Ambazonian people. It means nothing to the Ambazonia Governing Council. This is not a popularity contest where you think we're going to be excited because Norway wants to bring Cameroon and the Ague of Sea together. That's not the outcome we seek. While we are open to have a negotiated settlement, but we are not interested in these backdoor games. What Norway should do, you went to Cameroon, come to the public and say, hey, we sent a delegation to Cameroon. They came back and Cameroon has committed to a negotiated settlement with the Ambazonia Governing Council. That's what a responsible government would do. That's what responsible people would do. That's what people that care about the conflict, they care about the impact, the humanitarian catastrophe. If you care about those things and you want to see those things come to an end, then there must be public leadership. You have to demonstrate public leadership. Maybe Norway has to learn some lessons from Mr. Trump. It's been just a month. This man came in as the president of the United States. What did he do? He told the world he wants to be a peace president. He appointed an envoy for the Middle East and sent the envoy to the Middle East to meet with the government of Israel and to meet with the leadership of Hamas. Within a week, they hammered out a ceasefire agreement and laid out the 3 phases to bring the conflict to an end. That's how you demonstrate leadership. It's public. The 3 phases of the ceasefire agreement are public information. The envoy is a public official. The meetings are public. When they met with the leadership of the Israeli government, they made it public. When they met with the leadership of Hamas, they made it public. When they went to Qatar and had the agreement signed, they made it public. Why are you afraid, Norway? Why are the Europeans so afraid of Cameroon? Why are you people afraid of Cameroon? Why are you afraid of Mr. Biya? Or are you just protecting the French interest? With complete disregard on the lives of the Ambazonian people. It will not be business as usual. The Ambazonia Governing Council has referred Norway to the leader. Any decision about a negotiated settlement will be made by Dr. Cho Ayaba'S. Secondly, the ACN has built a partnership with the United States, with our lobbyists in the United States, a partnership with Moran Global Strategies. Any discussion about a negotiated settlement must be done in consultation and in concert with our guarantors, with the US. Any discussion about a negotiated settlement between the Ambazonian people, between the Ambazonia Governing Council and Cameroon must be done in consultation and in concert with our partners in the United States. This is how it's going to be done going forward. Fellow Ambazonians, the Norwegian government is not going to take the Ambazonian people and play them like palapala football, like palapala, and play them like match ball. The government of Norway is going to show public leadership for which he don't talk say one do. Without public leadership, all these backdoor talks, they means nothing, and the only thing where they go cause them, they will lead to more death and more killings of our people. They will lead to more destructions of our community. 2 days ago, the Ambazonia Governing Council, they can announce and for all now, say Norway, they don't can tell the ACN, say it be send a delegation of diplomats for go visit Mr. Paul Biya and the people of Cameroon and the government of Cameroon. That delegation come back with a letter from Mr. Paul Biya, where he talks, they say, a letter from Mr. Paul Biya to the Ambazonia Governing Council, where he talks, say, the government of Cameroon will be interested for start a negotiation process directly with the Ambazonia Governing Council. We come out, we can give that information. Now, we can tell Norway today, say for the Ambazonian people for take Norway serious, and for take what Norway don't take them serious, the Norwegians, they must show public leadership. Norway itself must come out for outside. It can't talk say, we, the government of Norway, will be send a delegation to Cameroon. That delegation don't come back. Now the letter this way, Mr. Paul Biya is sent them for the Ambazonia Governing Council, say he won't get into negotiation with the Ambazonia Governing Council on behalf of the Ambazonian people. Now the first thing that we know we got for doing, for give a own process credibility, for put a face into the process, for show the international community Norway its own seriousness. Why this one be important? Norway must learn from the experiences of the failure of the Swiss intention and the Canadian process. That's how they give Norway this advice. For 2019, Switzerland, it come out through their HD, they can't start talk, say they say the one Cameroon want talk with Ambazonia. Cameroon want talk with Ambazonia. Cameroon want talk with Ambazonia. It take them almost 6 months. They be used now this NGO before their government come, before the ACN challenge them. Say, look, we no go get involved. When I go talk with the Sakos, when I go talk with the Akwangas, when I go talk with the Boherbets. As long as when I descend on some small NGO, me talk say Cameroon and Ambazonia, they want talk. No person will take una serious. If una want make this thing work, number one, the government of Switzerland, it got to take responsibility for the process. When I know we leave them for the hand for some small NGO. The ACN force them. The ACN say, we no will get involved until when a government says it come in. We no go get involved until we appoint an envoy. The Swiss, they come in themselves. The Swiss, they appointed an envoy. ACN still tell them, say, when I don't come in, when I don't appoint an envoy, it never correct. When I get for show a commitment from the Cameroon government. When I no go only the camp for the Ambazonian side, say Cameroon want talk, Cameroon want talk. Cameroon is itself the shit on quiet. When I show a commitment from a written commitment from Cameroon, the ACN continue for insist. Say without a written commitment from Cameroon, we no go take una serious. It take 2.5 years. They continue for deceive the Ambazonian people. Sako they carry them for their head. They did travel across Ambazonian community. For go tell Ambazonia, they say, Cameroon want talk, Cameroon want talk. You know, who saw the commitment from Cameroon Day? Norway, no one, Switzerland no be fit for sure. They even come for Canada here. And I challenge them for that hall. When I not feel the work around our community, when I no one go get a simple commitment from Cameroon, when I can't deceive our people. It take 2.5 years before the Norwegian, the Swiss, they come out, they can't talk, say, they say, well, Cameroon not be interested. And so then they would dissolve. But it takes 2.5 years of constant deception and manipulation of the Ambazonian people them. How many Ambazonians will be killed? Thousands of Ambazonians will be killed. Hundreds of communities will be burned down during that time. Hundreds of, if not thousands of Ambazonians, they will be taken hostage, and up to today, Cameroon, it will keep them under hostage. How many Ambazonians, thousands of Ambazonians, they become refugees. They become displaced because the Swiss, they be failed for provide leadership. Then they come out. They say, oh, now na Canada pre-talks. They get the Ambazonia Governing Council for lead the charge, unite the Ambazonian people, bring nationalist movement together. Well, the Canadian government, they come up, they say, look, Cameroon, be serious. It's okay. 3 rounds of underground talks. They take place on October 2022, they take place on November 2022, and they take place on December 2022. The first round of pre-talks, it take place for the city where they call and say Montebello, for the province of Quebec. The second round of talk, it take place on November 2022 for the city where they call and say Mont-Tremblant, for the province of Quebec. And the final pre-talks, it will take place for the city of Toronto, for the province of Ontario. It be round up that last phase, it round up the pre-talks. They sign an agreement. They sign the pre-talks agreement where it lay a framework for negotiations. But why it failed? It failed because the Canadian foreign minister, when at the Canadian foreign ministry for the Canadian federal government, now be the lead these talks. So the talks will take place at that higher level. But the Canadian foreign minister, Madame Jolie, it not come out for outside, for can't tell the world, say, the country of Canada, it don't bring Ambazonia and Cameroon together for work on a peace settlement agreement for end the conflict for Ambazonia. Their failure for take ownership and demonstrate that public leadership, it not give the process the credibility and the visibility where it need them for galvanize the international community for support that process. Then, even when they don't sign the final agreement for December, Madame Jolie and the Prime Minister, they be supposed to come outside Ambazonia for one side, Cameroon for one side, the Canadian government for middle, and then they bring CNN, they bring CBC, they bring BBC. They be supposed to hold a press conference for announce the end of the pre-talks agreement and lay out the framework for the main negotiation. They failed for doing. The failure for provide that public leadership now he make on December 31st when Mr. Paul Biya supposed to go for outside December 31st, 2022 for Mr. Paul Biya's speech. Mr. Paul Biya supposed to announce after that speech, they say for the last 3 months, he don't engage through the Canadians for a negotiated process for Ambazonia. Mr. Paul Biya for that speech, he not talk anything like that. He continue to talk about the war for fight the separatists. He end the process. 1 month, a few weeks later, they have Minister of Communication or Justice, Minister of Communication, they come out outside. He can't deny, say, Cameroon not get anything to do with the talks. He killed the process. Now, 2 years, 2 months later, almost the same time with the Swiss, the gap. How many Ambazonians they don't be killed? Because Canada failed for provide public leadership, for give the process credibility. Thousands they don't be killed. Thousands they don't be displaced. Many picking they don't be killed. Many picking they need to go to school. Hundreds of thousands of Ambazonians they don't become refugees. Thousands they don't be displaced. They don't increase the humanitarian crisis because they take Ambazonians for granted. Because both the Swiss and the Canadians they try to protect the French interest instead for stop the carnage. So they put the exploitation and protection of French interest ahead of the lives of the Ambazonian people. So it not be any different from what the Norwegians did do. It be very hypocritical for Norway, and we'll get for call their hypocrisy out. For Norway for send a delegation to Cameroon, the delegation come back, they bring a letter from the Cameroon government, they bring them back the gear for their government, then their government, they call the ACN leadership, they say, hey, we as we be tell when I say we go Cameroon, we don't come back, now letter this way, Cameroon government don't send them, now when I letter this, say they want start negotiation with the winner. For that same moment, we governor Norway to do this thing. The Norwegians, they keep Dr. Cho Ayaba'S because for protect the French and Cameroon interest. So they keep Dr. Cho for prison because they feel, they say, now he be the only thing where it stand on their way for Cameroon for take back the territory. And for the French and the Western imperialists for continue to get free resources. So that made it protect a murderer. So Norway not play this game with the Ambazonian people. Norway no go play this game with the ACN. If Norway be serious, first step, release the leader. Second step, you take public leadership. You own the process. Number 2, we don't tell Norway, we're not there for these games. For anything we concern negotiation between the Ambazonian Governing Council and the state of Cameroon, between the Ambazonian people and the state of Cameroon, it must be done in consultation with our partners of the for United States. It must be done in consultation with our partners for the US. Not be only Norway alone. All right? It not go only be only Norway alone. It must be done in consultation with our partners of moral global strategies. When then they rally the American government for stand for Ambazonia back. as guarantors. But I want to tell you today why Norway and Cameroon and France, they want to call for a negotiated settlement now. Why they want to talk for the Hague of Sea now? Why did they try to negotiate? Now they want to go direct, get a direct negotiation with Hague of Sea. Because as we don't tell you now, all conflicts that they come to an end, they did not, now when they bring the consequential actors together. Man, make me be clear for all Ambazonians. Ambazonians get many political shades of opinion. Everybody get it right for Duam. But not be everybody be involved in the fighting. The fight for Palestine. Palestinians get about between 14, I think about 18 political movements. But when it comes for the war between Hamas, for the war for Gaza, now Hamas and Israel. The ceasefire agreement with the sign them. They not sign them with all the 18 political movements for Palestine. Now only Hamas be shidon for the negotiation table. That conflict, because now Hamas defied the war with Israel. Now so conflict that it come to an end. So the notion, they say they must take everybody for bring them for table. It never ever solve any conflict like that. Now only the consequential actors from both sides that they enter into negotiated settlement because then they did fighting. So the first step, now this acknowledgement of the consequentiality of the Ambazonia Governing Council. We don't talk over the last 7 years, but most people they need listen. Now the reality of how the international system they operate, it don't come in. And over the last 6 months, since the pick up Dr. Cho Ayaba'S, every other Ambazonian leader, it don't almost run, go hide. They be non-existent. The unity of the Hague of Sea, the unity for maintain unity on the ground. It don't show the international community and the Norwegians and Cameroon will be the boss for this liberation struggle. Even in his absence, the organization be more united, more stronger, more powerful. The forces, they show a level of unity. So we must understand place where things that they go. That's why the Hague of Sea be very smart. Now the first thing that. The second thing with the push Cameroon now, for one can talk, now because of the lobby firm, the legal firm, with the Hague of Sea, it make this big push into the new administration because we'll be anticipate Mr. Trump is winning and will be prepared for the swift changes in global dynamics and how it go make Europe go become inconsequential. So we'll be pivot and prepare ourselves for place ourselves for a position where it go give we go give Ambazonia the edge diplomatically. So we'll be prepared, we'll be anticipate 3 months before Trump the election and set ourselves and place Ambazonia for a position of strength during this period. The alignment, the anticipation of Trump's victory and our ability for take those kind of steps for set Ambazonia for a powerful path of alignment would place where the world they go and place where power they move into. It caused these people now that the fear say, they say, what if the US woke up one day and it make a unilateral declaration for the recognition of Ambazonia? Because they say, I mean, it happened. A conflict we don't go on for 3 months, for 3 years between Ukraine and Russia. The last administration, they not want to talk for the Russians. There be the fight for the strategic defeat of Russia. Mr. Trump, he come in, he said, all the wars for this world must stop. Within the last 1 week and a half, the Russians and the Americans, they don't hammer in the negotiated agreement. The top, from the Secretary of Defense to the Secretary of State to the Special Envoy, all man, including the Vice President, that they move across the globe for fulfill Mr. Trump's agenda for end this conflict and create a peaceful world. That's leadership. They need to do these things for background. They do them in the open. When they work for the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel, they do them in the open. When they sign the ceasefire agreement, they do them in the open. Why not wear the fear? When they start the negotiation between Russia and Ukraine, they do them in the open. Why be say when it comes for Ambazonia, everything therefore be done in the dark? Now who did it take? Why did he take it for granted? It must stop. It must stop. So if Norway to be serious, we don't give Norway two things what they need for doing. Two prescriptions. Number one, public leadership, for own up to their own process, for give that process validity and a face. Number two, they must do them in consultation with our US partners. There's no more discussions in the dark. Not with the AGOFC and not with the Ambazonian people. And my message is for the Norwegians and for Cameroon today. It no will be business as usual anymore. Cameroon is a deceptive, manipulative country. They not be trustworthy. They are not a credible actor. They need to act on good faith until you show public authority. The Cameroon, it would take Norway just like it take Switzerland. It rob them for more. Take them, rob them for shit. Take the Canadians, rob them for shit. Cameroon will also take Norway, it rob them for shit. All right? So we call on our forces for be on guard, for continuing with the resistance and the offensive operations against Cameroon. And any person will enter the Ambazonian territory for conduct elections, we not arrest it or we not take it out. Any person will enter the Ambazonian territory for conduct colonial election campaign, the Ambazonian forces, they must take the person out. Anyone who enter the Ambazonian territory for conduct election must be taken out. Must be taken out. Because now an act of foreign aggression and a declaration of war on the Ambazonian people then. At the time this, any person when a dog born here, make you enter Ambazonia, you carry your bearing ground, you go back from Vomeka, Nyamfuka. Now get a good day.
Welcome to ACN.
And more information is going to come. I met Judas Iscariot of Southern Cameroon, people who have blood in their hands, who took money, who worked with a Tanganji, who decided to do the false attacks in terms of what they call in warfare false flag attacks. I go attack you and I start shouting, now we be picking them for Cho Ayaba'S. Now we this, we can't do now. Let me give you an example. 2 CPDM Manu people in North America, whose names I will keep, are fighting for a chieftaincy dispute in a Manu village. One of them realizes that he is losing. He sends money that Amber Boys should go and disrupt the event. These are not people who have anything to do with the Ambazonia struggle. They are just Southern Cameroonians, but they know that war is a racket, so they're going to use the Ambazonia struggle and sully the movement. To the gullible Cameroonian, oh, now Amber people don't kill him, but you have to dig deeper. This is what we call false flag attacks. I want to go kill you, Lucas Sassou. I take the t-shirt of your enemy, and after killing you, I throw that t-shirt there. I set up the scenario for misleading this investigation, so that when people come and say, oh, now who is t-shirt this? Ah, now this man, now he killed Lucas. You don't see him, he run, he leave his t-shirt here. So, Southern Cameroonians, let me tell you, the first casualty of every war is the truth. A lie can go halfway around the world. During that time, the truth is lacing its boots. When the truth will lace its boots, it will overtake the lie. Atanganji, who formed a whole militia, Ngongo was paying him. Let the children go and terrorize the population so that they should turn against Ambazonia. Right now, what they did was, these Ambazonian leaders, we need to buy them. Give them money. Let them be quiet. Those who don't want to take money will kill them. I know this. I was the first press secretary of the SDF when it was formed in 1990. I was a journalist at CRTV. Gervais Mendoza called me in his office and said, Monsieur Eyon, on me dit que vous êtes du Sud-Ouest. I said, oui, monsieur le directeur. Qu'est-ce que tu fais avec ces gens-là? I said, Monsieur le directeur, quels gens? Les gens du Nord-Ouest. And I asked him, I said, Mr. Director, when you appointed me, a senior journalist from the School of Journalism, to be the assistant to a Francophone who has only O level, was it because I was from the Northwest or the Southwest? So this is the game, the CPDM game that even we, the Southern Cameroonians, have fallen into. Now, let me tell you right now, I am still investigating to find out how many other people took money, because Eko, Mbayu, and Florence Ufe Chinje Malo, the lady who was rector of the Chang University, who carried the money and came here and laundered it through the bank account of the embassy, which is responsible for money laundering, because the State Department has even expelled, virtually asked the Cameroon government to take Fue Atangana back because he was involved in money laundering. Cameroon is a kleptocracy, a government of thieves by thieves for thieves. So what they do to you is they bribe you, and if you refuse to take bribes, they blackmail you.
Oh, Uncle, we'll get there. First, as we've said, the truth will set us free. Ambazonians have a notion that they have leaders out here. Some Ambazonians, very well educated, with degrees upon degrees, are in these movements. For us to purify this liberation struggle, we need to speak the truth to our people.
Yes.
To align our people to what works, to the people that are betraying them, and masking themselves as leaders.
Yes.
You are a journalist. Why are you bringing this information to the public? What makes you to want to speak out today?
I'm speaking out because our people have paid for their independence with their blood. But the people who were confided with the responsibility to lead the movement have become against the movement. And one of the conditions for being against the movement is to continue to pretend to be a leader. Ikome Sako is ready to take money and pay a French journalist to be vilifying Cho Ayaba'S, because I have investigated Cho Ayaba'S. All the time they kept saying, Cho Ayaba'S, the war with government. I said, okay, I'm an investigative journalist. I will find out. I have investigated Cho Ayaba'S. Because if I found out that Cho Ayaba'S was working with the government of Cameroon, I would be the first to denounce him. I fear nobody. Young people have died for this movement. We have a responsibility not to betray them. Ngu Santos took money. Ebenezer Akangwa took money. Sako took money. I am going to give you more names. And what they do, Eko came here. Eko came here. He will make you sign under a paper and give you crumbs and go report to the presidency that they gave you millions. In fact, they end up not giving you anything. One of the people called me and said, Mr. Larry, you go see which way I will be. They can't give me post for government. He knows. These people talked to me. They told me. And I had conversations with them.
We want to. Can you repeat the names of purported Ambazonian leaders, pseudo Ambazonian leaders who collected money from Cameroon? Can we know their names, and can we know how much money they collected?
No, I don't know how much money. I know their names. Ngu Santos collected money. Sako Ikome collected money. Chris Anu collected money. Ebenezer Akangwa collected money. I am still digging to know the other people who were given crumbs. I know that, and I'm challenging them. If they think I am lying, let them sue me. We live in the United States of America where there's the rule of law. I will face them in court. These people are corrupt.
There are four persons, there are four names you have called.
Yes.
Santos, Ngu Santos.
Yes. Yes.
Who called
Ebenezer Akangwa.
Ebenezer, yes. Dr. Ebenezer Akwanga.
Yes.
Samuel Sako Ikome.
Yes.
And Chris Anu. These are the four names you have called.
Yeah. And the lady who carried the bags of money and came here for the distribution, as part of the distribution, is called Florence Ufi Chinje Malo. When I am calling somebody's name, I have done a principled investigation and I have cross-checked to make sure. I have not called other names. I'm not going to call anybody's name lightly because I know the weight of what I'm doing. And if they want to kill me, be my guest. I'm not scared. Younger people have died for this movement. We have no right to be pretending that we are leaders when we are actually traitors.
Uncle Larry, can you swear to what you're saying publicly?
I can. I'm a God-fearing man. My mother, who didn't go to school, said, "Tell the truth and shame the devil." That is what I'm doing here. I am not. I don't care about lying about people. Why am I not calling the other? Are these the only leaders? Why am I calling only these four people? Did they do anything to me? I am telling you because my informant gave me this information, and he's going to give me more information. This is the information I got. The money was so much, the embassy had to pass it as if there were salaries for the ambassador, for the staff. That's how they collected the money here, and they were distributing. When they give you money, they call other people and tell them that that your person that you are pretending that is a very clean person. We've already bought him. He works for us now, because they want to recruit other people. And when they are done with you, they say it in French. They flush you, as they say in French, comme du papier hygiénique après usage. They use you as a toilet paper. They've already used you. We sit here and we take money on the blood of young Southern Cameroonians who have died. God forbid it. Those who take that money.
Uncle Larry, what message do you have for people who continues to support Ebenezer Akwanga as an Ambazonian leader? What message do you have for people who continue to support Sako and front him as an Ambazonian leader? What message do you have for people who continue to look up to Chris Anu as an Ambazonian leader? What message do you have for those people?
The quintessential quality of a leader is character. The best institutions in the world are a reflection of the character and the caliber of those who run them. You go take a commissako, a fraud in Limbe, who everybody knows to be a fraud because he's a Southwesterner and you want to placate the Bakweris. We've had Bakweri leaders here of probity. These people are not. When you have people who believe that the movement belongs to them, like Ebenezer Akangwa, leadership is a relay race. You run your own lap and you hand over. I am not a leader. I'm a servant. I want to serve the Southern Cameroonian people, and I will never betray them. And every time I see anybody who is betraying them, I will lay my life, because other people have laid their life for this struggle. They did not die in vain. So it is important. If you want to follow your leader to the grave, like how a fly will follow the corpse to the grave, that's your problem.
Dr. Cho Ayaba'S, was he arrested by Norway because he refused to collect Cameroon bribe?
Yes. They wanted him to take money and be quiet. That is what they did with Frundi. Frundi, take money and be quiet or we'll kill you. I was his press secretary. I was the youngest member of the national executive of the SDF in 1990. So I'm talking as somebody who has been there.
Should Ambazonia depend on Norway for justice?
No, that would be a very big error. They will keep Cho Ayaba'S there for as long as they can. If they cannot send, because the French are very good at this. They will send somebody inside the jail cell and poison him. They do that. They are reputed for doing that. La raison d'etat. And they say they have neutralized him because Cho Ayaba'S is dynamic. And these are boys we trained. He himself admits that, Larry, I was coming to the meetings, your meetings in Carrefour Obili when you were the press secretary of the SDF. Some of the things that I'm saying, I heard them from you. So we cannot sit here and allow Cho Ayaba'S to be locked up and then we fear. I told you, they came for Ayok Tabe, I was quiet. They came from Fongalan, I was quiet. They came for Shufai, Blaise, I was quiet. They came for Elias Ayambe, I was quiet. They came for Cho Ayaba'S, I was quiet. But when they came for me, there was no one to speak. So I'm not going to sit here and be scared of death or any justice system. Europe doesn't have justice for Africa. Chirac said, democracy is a luxury for Africa. That Africans should aspire for clean water and 3 meals a day. That democracy is a luxury. We cannot afford it. They don't want us there. They want our oil. They want to keep overseers of the white man's plantation in Africa to be controlling them. Watch whom they're going to put in power in Yaoundé. Just watch. So what is the
primary reason? What is the primary reason at this stage of Ambazonia liberation struggle for the arrest of Dr. Cho Ayaba'S? Is it to help cool down the temperature on the ground and help with the transition of Cameroon? Or is it to use Ebenezer Akwanga that they have bribed, Samuel Sako that they have bribed, Chris Anu that they have bribed, Samuel Santos that they have bribed, and the other one in Canada, you haven't mentioned his name. Why did you skip that one? The one who they helped to transition from Hong Kong to...
Let me tell you, Mr. Asu, I talk about the principled investigation that I've done. It is not conclusive. It is not exhaustive. The information that my informant gave me, I verified that information. But now let me answer your question. There are 2 words you must remember. Isolement et étouffement. Isolation and asphyxiation. You isolate the leader so you can suck the oxygen out of the movement, because the French are very, very Machiavellian. They believe that when a leader, a charismatic leader like Cho Ayaba'S is removed from the battlefront, everybody will fear. But guess what? The United States was in Afghanistan for 20 years. They were not able to suppress the Taliban. Famen Dongo said that they were going to end the war in a week. We have no choice. Bismarck said it. If the great problems of the day cannot be solved by parliamentary speeches and debates, they'll be solved by blood and iron. We love this land. This is our land. We have a superior culture. We are not going to submit to the francophones. Paul Biya has even admitted defeat. Nous avons tenté de les assimiler, ça n'a pas marché. So this is what they do. They caught Ayoktabe, they caught Mfongalamfo, they thought, because at one time, Yaoundé was scared of Mfongalamfo. They caught him now, they put him in jail. They think that will end. Cho Ayaba'S picked up.
One spirit, one love. One spirit, one love.
I have just heard the Ngoketunga audio. I'm going to stand with them publicly. We must encourage these children to take bold escalatory stance. I love the tone of Giovanna Wata. They must learn one lesson that they've never learned. And I have told the soldiers on the ground, and I tell you people, the day people hear that they've taken me anywhere, don't forget about me where I am. Escalate. Yes, escalate. Nobody should be sitting and thinking where Dr. Cho Ayaba'S have arrested him or killed him, whatever. These people must leave the land. And I've told the soldiers this morning on the ground, you get up one day, you hear that Ayaba'S is not there. Just keep shooting and keep going.